Hello, YouTube. The Rostov Oblast or region is located along the Sea of Azov, a vital strategic waterway in the Russian-Ukrainian war. Russia has already claimed to fully control all of Ukraine's territory surrounding the Sea of Azov, meaning the Kherson, Zaporozhye, Donetsk, and Luhansk regions. But of course, it doesn't de facto control the entirety of these regions, and I think is losing one by one. Well, Russian air defenses reportedly shot down a UFO in the Rostov region near the Ukrainian border on Tuesday, January the 3rd, the year of 2023, with local media outlets, videos of a small object in the sky exploding being shown on the internet. The news was first shared by Rostov region governor Vasily Golubev on the Telegram channel, and he claimed that the UFO was spotted above the village of Sultan Salah. He said, "I urge everyone to remain calm. To ensure security, all forces and means are involved. The sky is covered with anti-aircraft defenses," Golubev said, according to local news outlet Privyet Rostov. Although he did not explain what the UFO was, other than it was shaped like a ball, like a sphere. While the UFO's identity is unclear, some Russian lawmakers are claiming it was a Ukrainian drone, though other civilians have, let's say, more wilder theories, let's put it that way. But let's look at the timeline. January 3rd, 22:37 hours from the Privyet Rostov. Residents have published several videos taken from different parts of the city which show how the air defense system allegedly worked. Photos and videos with an unknown object shot down over the city and an inversion trace from it were also published on the network. According to residents who became eyewitnesses, everything happened at about 22 hours. Official comments from the authorities on this matter have not yet been received. All information is being clarified. And then we go to January 4 at 12:30 p.m. Authorities in the Rostov region said that they were checking information about explosions and outbreaks over Rostov-on-Don on the evening of January 3rd. The journalist also noted that in Crimea and Sevastopol, the authorities promptly comment on such emergencies. January 4, also, the townspeople are indignant that the authorities did not properly handle the radius of falling debris. And then, again, it says, yesterday, January 3rd, at about 22 o'clock, Rostov residents were frightened by a loud explosion in the sky. The authorities have already commented on the situation. Governor Golubev said that the air defense shot down an unidentified spherical object in the sky. Well, January 4 in the evening, on the web, residents shared pictures of details all day, which, according to their data, are the wreckage of the unidentified object. Many took the parts that they found, they took them home as a keepsake. On January 5th, we learned that the residents of the north of the Rostov region reported explosions on that day. Residents of Milerova report online that the sound wave made their windows tremble and the alarm system went off at the cars. So there were loud alarms from the vehicles. But we're not going to leave it just like that. Let's go back to October of the year 2022. Actually, October 10. October 19th, to be precise. Night flights of some strange object flying over the city excite the minds of Rostov residents. An incomprehensible flying object has been circling over the city of Rostov-on-Don in the Oktyabrski district for several nights. It doesn't make any sounds, takes off, makes a circle, and disappears from sight. What could it be? Given the current situation, this is a cause for concern for local residents. according to one of the people who wrote comments on the internet. Well, it's hard to tell from the photos what it really is. However, the fact that there are no sounds at all on the video suggests that this is just someone's joke and not too successful, according to the locals again. But the fact is that Rostov is located nearby. Evening and night helicopter flights are practiced in that area. New vehicles are being tested, new aircraft before being sent to the Russian troops. Apparently, these helicopters were in the photo and the video from October 19, 2022. Joint stock company Rostov is a Russian helicopter manufacturer company located in Rostov-on-Don. It was founded in 1939, and Rostov has been producing helicopters designed by the Mail Design Bureau since 1956 and is a world leader in the manufacture of heavy lift helicopters. So this could probably give us the answer. But we have to go back in time to April 15 in the year 2019. And in the Panorama newspaper, there was a report. It was done by a correspondent of the newspaper who filmed a mysterious flying object in the evening sky over Rostov. The film was taken about 1930 hours at the intersection of Budyonovsky Avenue and Bolshaya Sadovaya Street. The object in the form of quadrilateral with colored lights of red and green in each of the corners. Green in the video for some reason was not fixed. Slowly hovered at a height of about 20 to 25 meters, first above the house where the confectionery is located, and then flew closer to the city general store. Periodically, it hovered in the air for 1 to 2 minutes and began to move the other way. It looked like a quadcopter, especially since there was a soft sound resembling the noise from the operation of the screws, the correspondent said. However, if you estimate the size of the object in comparison with the altitude of its flight, it turned out that each side of the flying square was 5 meters long, and this is too much for a civilian drone. Although it is quite possible that the UFO was a police apparatus or belonging to another of the law enforcement agencies. But then it's not entirely clear why it was necessary to turn on bright lights. Well, it wasn't launched for showing off, was it? Interestingly, passers-by, and there were a lot of them at that time at the busy intersection, almost did not pay attention to the illumination flying across the sky. Some, however, filmed the object on their smartphones, and one of the eyewitnesses, in response to the question, how does she find such a miracle? What's her feeling about it? She replied humorously, "Oh, come on, if only it didn't drop something on my head." When viewing the resulting video, it turned out that the audio track in the second part of it was strangely distorted. According to the Panorama correspondent, he did nothing with his smartphone that could explain the strange sounds. Official information about the flight of the mysterious object over the very center of the city has not yet been received by the time of the news story coming out. Then we go back in time a few years. And we go to September 27 in the year 2017. The day before, thousands of Rostov residents observed and managed to film an unusual phenomenon, which most dubbed a UFO. Almost at the same time, a message was being sent through the official channels that the test of the intercontinental ballistic missile Topol, which was fired from the Kapustin Yar test site in the Astrakhan region, has successfully passed, and it landed at the test site in Kazakhstan. The media easily picked up and interpreted this. They say that the Rostov residents saw nothing but a trace from this very missile. However, there are obvious inconsistencies here, according to some Russian observers. And here's what irks those observers, and I will quote from them. This is their point of view. 1. From Rostov to Kapustin Yar in a straight line is 475 kilometers. In addition, the missile was flying in the opposite direction from the city. Can anyone assume that we actually saw this topol? 2. A similar phenomenon was observed almost throughout Russia on this side of the Urals. Our side received messages from Kalmykia, Volgograd, the Republic of Mariel, St. Petersburg, and Kazan. It is very difficult to believe that it was a missile launched from the Kapustin Yar. 3. Rostov residents observed not one but actually two phenomena. The first one really resembled a trace from a missile or rocket that was moving in different directions for some reason. The second is more interesting. This is a blue ray and a clearly defined spiral. Such a phenomenon could not have been created as a trace of a rocket or a missile. The answer is much clearer than we might think, they say, and easy to prove. It just includes a new technology that is only now being revealed to the public using the principle of do show but do not tell. Experiments have been conducted all over the world for a long time to control torsion fields, to warm up the ionosphere, to create technology that can be used as climatic, geological, and other weapons, as well as missile defense systems. For a long time in Norway, Alaska, Japan, and China, according to unconfirmed reports, also in Russia, HAARP installations using a technology called IceCat. HAARP is a program for the study of high-frequency active auroral radiation. Its purpose is to shoot huge amounts of energy into charged particles of the ionosphere to warm it up. It has long been suspected that it has much greater functions and abilities than we know all about. Nikola Tesla was at the origin of these technologies. These are electromagnetic phenomena, not atmospheric ones. Therefore, they can maintain a speed of 1.142 kilometers per hour since they're projected into reflecting particles in the air and are not created by the rotation of free particles in the atmosphere. Scientists believe that the super powerful spiral created by HARP with the help of huge energy can also serve as a missile shield. Thus, the working technology of the Tesla screen is able to prevent any threat, including nuclear. There is even a hypothesis that the unsuccessful launch of the Russian new Bulava missile a few years ago is connected with the use of this technology against Russia, but this is a hypothesis. It is impossible to confirm in any way, having only sources from open access. The scale of the phenomenon is amazing. The number of eyewitness accounts, the authenticity of photos and videos are beyond doubt. And if we wanted to convey this information to a conditional opponent, we had to do exactly that. Look, half of Russia is at a loss, but at the same time, no official statements. Well, it was sort of like Topol, and that's it. However, to whom this gigantic message was addressed, they understood. Okay, having presented views of some concerned Russian citizens, now we must travel back to the year of 2007. The report from February 7 of that year states the following. 2 weeks ago, after a strong storm, residents of the village of Semibalki, Rostov region, pulled a 2-meter creature similar to a shark onto a shore with a net. It was making strange sounds like squeak. According to Komsomolskaya Pravda newspaper, at first the fishermen thought that they caught a real alien and decided to film the catch on a mobile phone camera. They had the body and long tail of the captured creature are clearly visible on the frames. Its torso is very shiny, as if smeared with wax. The weight of the strange catch turned out to be 100 kilograms. To the disappointment of scientists and ufologists, the Azov fishermen were not at all frightened by the creature, and they ate it. Then they said that they had never tasted anything tastier in their lives. The head of the Anomalous Phenomena Service, Andrei Gorodovoy, said this: nature sometimes creates very unusual and bizarre forms. Judging by the photo, this is a fish of the sturgeon family, taken from the belly at a certain angle. Legends about mermaids in the Sea of Azov have existed for a long time, but have never been confirmed by specialists of the Anomalous Phenomena Service. Although we do not deny the existence of other forms, intelligent forms, in the Sea of Azov, and Deputy Director of the Rostov Zoo, Alexander Lipkovich, noted, I consulted with our ichthyologists. They say that the fish looks like a sturgeon. But this is a very interesting specimen. I've never seen anything like it in my life. He might have seen something very strange had he been in the area 18 years prior to that. But let me take a tiny break and tell you this. 40 years ago, I was a young man studying ancient language of my ancestors, and I wanted to practice writing stories into it. And I actually wrote my science fiction story about alien probe into our planet that went awry. It didn't work out, and trying to represent themselves as human beings. For some reason, the technology broke down, and when they were met by a local nomad in one of the countries of Central Asia, they were eaten because they looked like food to the nomad, and they didn't have time to warn him. So instead of looking like an intelligent being, they looked to him like a delicious local food. Anyway, I was practicing the language at the time. So this story reminded me of my story 40 years ago. And I want to tell you something. I had a photo of that strange creature that the fisherman ate. I can't find it. And it's almost, I don't think you can find it on the internet as well, but it used to exist. So here's what we wanted to elucidate Alexander Lipkovich about, and the rest of us. This incident that happened in Sask, a town in the Rostov region, on September 15, 1989, and caused a great resonance in the media and among ufologists, and this was during the Soviet times. That day, in the clear blue sky over the city, between 2 and 3 p.m., several huge squares appeared with the sides as if painted with traces of jets, chemtrails. Then images began to appear inside the squares. In the beginning, it was a series of icons of the type the sign for more, grouped in a combination of 2, 4, or 6 characters. After them, 2 twos appeared, connected by a dash, then 2 combinations of 7 of 2s and 3 digits. You will see it if you look on the photo. A little later, the 2s turned into 2 question marks. Hundreds of people witnessed the miracle of the celestial arithmetic. Needless to say, ufologists immediately began to decipher and search for the meaning of what they saw. With the help of various manipulations with the symbols of the above entry, it was proved, for example, that the Sask celestial code maintains all the world's physical constants and mathematical constants, the number pi, the golden ratio 1,618, The rest is mass of the electron, the gravitational constant, etc. Everything would be fine if the decryption process was limited to this. But in these symbols, they managed to see the date of the end of the world, or the end of Russia, which, however, will be saved by the Saint Mary, according to Russian Orthodox Christian believers who send this warning to the Russians. Well, they believe it, and we have to respect what they will believe. But there are also other ways to decipher the Sask symbols. For example, one of them sees in them the code or alphabet of the universe. Nevertheless, no more or less generally accepted interpretation of the meaning of the Sask heavenly message has been found, but people tried. For example, if you don't go into too much detail, then the bottom line is that on September 15, 1989, 5 huge squares of clouds appeared in the sky over the small town of Sask in the Rostov region, according to numerous witnesses. The mysterious symbols inside the squares changed 3 times. As a result, the number 227777 was formed. It is logical to assume that the squares can be a hint to extract the square root from the number located inside. The result of the extracting the root from 227777 is equal to an accuracy of as much as 1509. In this result, it's easy to see the similarity with the date of the event in Sask, meaning the 15th of September. But the way it's written in Russia, it would be 15.09. The coincidence is impressive, but the following question immediately arises. What is the special meaning of this date? Let's say this grandiose celestial sign warned, respectively, about some great, unusual event for the USSR. The most important event was the collapse of the Soviet state, in 2 years. Russia became the successor of the USSR. It turns out that if you extract the square root of the date of the Sask code, but without a zero before the original number of the month, that is from 159, you get approximately 12.6. That is an indication of June 12th, Russia Day. So simple reasoning led to the fact that the Sask code is most likely an encrypted prediction of the collapse of the USSR and the establishment of the main Russian state holiday. Other details of the cloud message are also consistent with this hypothesis. The total number of squares in the above scheme of the Sask code 15 coincides with the number of the Soviet Union republics. The 2 symbols in the upper line look like 2 combined sickles and a kind of reconstruction of the main state emblem of the country, where the hammer represented the working class and industry, and the sickle represented the peasantry and agriculture. The share of the republics of the former USSR in the world industrial production decreased catastrophically after the collapse of the Soviet Union. The emblem hammer and sickle was replaced by sickle and sickle. Okay? And in conclusion, about the meaning of the dash between the 2's in the bottom line. If we assume that this is a hint of a comma, then the number appears in a slightly different form. 2,277777. Multiplying the length of the year by this number, we get approximately 365 days multiplied by what I just told you equals 831.38 days. Adding this interval to the date of September 15, 1989, we get the morning of December 26, 1991, the exact date of the collapse of the USSR. See how people think and what conclusions that they come up with? But again, no one explained those strange symbols. So this is what I wanted to let you know today. I'm sure we're going to see a lot more UFOs over the battlefields, and some could be explained and some most likely not. And if you like my research, please help me. You will see the links, a description on how to do it in the description of this video. Please like my videos and subscribe to my channel. And thank you for all your attention to my work.